What's up, everybody? Welcome to Among the Fence. My name is Aaron. Today we're checking out the new album Clockworked by Stray from the Path. This is the 11th studio album from the hardcore slash metalcore-ish band, and it's kind of a bittersweet one because they announced that they are also going to be breaking up at the end of 2025. This is their last album. Once they're done touring, that is it. It's going to be really sad to see this band come to an end, especially since they've been around since 2001. They have influenced so many bands that have come up in that time. I personally grew up with Rage Against the Machine, and when I grew out of them, Stray from the Path was the next progression, the next best thing, matching their political views and even, of course, their riffs. It wasn't really, I don't know, other than Incendiary, this just made the most sense as far as anybody who liked Rage Against the Machine. Their first three albums are insanely good, and I would say it's kind of the peak of their sound. They started becoming a little silly in their later albums, though, with songs like Goodnight, Alt-Right, which just brings a lot of really cringy lyrics to the table that you would find off of like an Attila record. It made it really hard for me, and I feel like a lot of other people that take them serious after that. And that's not to say they didn't still have some bangers. Their last album, Euthanasia, which came out in 2022, I would still say that's a solid album. It's a really good listen all the way through, and personally, just the way how the band was going, I thought that was going to be like their last hurrah, but I'm glad we still get a new record from them. They only released one single for this album, which is also the opening track. Is titled The Kubrick Stare, which, if you don't know what it's referring to, it's at the end of The Shining, where Jack is seen in the photo with all the guests and everybody else that's part of the hotel pretty much, and he's just staring off into nowhere. And this song is about how we're all really numbed to all the messed up stuff that we see on a daily basis, and it's because we do see it on a daily basis. It has a very abrasive riff in the intro that comes back around for the chorus, and I love how this song addresses just how seeing tragic things has become very normal for us to the point to where if we see something that's super tragic, we're just kind of told to walk it off like it's not supposed to affect us, even though we see horrible things going on all around the world. There's like an infinite amount of it, and yet we pretend like it isn't affecting us. Like, that's why we're not struggling with the mental health issues that we have today. And then we have the song F Them All to Hell. That's right, I'm going to censor myself because YouTube links that. This reminds me a lot of like a Knocked Loose song mixed with like pop punk, at least till you get to the chorus where the haunting melodies come in, where he says the only way he would write down a presidential candidate's name is on a headstone. I'm not sure if he's referring to one candidate in particular or if he's saying just in general, which either way, I think it's pretty sick. The performance in this is really well done. I don't usually like songs like this because it's really hard not to be cheesy and just sound whiny and angsty, but he pulls it off amazingly. And also the dissonance and the songwriting is just fantastic. This is something that I feel like Stray from the Path manages to do really well, especially when you get to the brutal breakdown, where again, it doesn't just sound like a bunch of just whininess. It actually sounds like he's saying something, and it really hits you and it gets to the point. And then we have the song Shot Caller, which follows this really well with equally dark amounts of tone. The verse has a lot of Rage Against the Machine-esque qualities to it, but it's not quite as obvious as you would expect. I had to listen to it a few times before the riff really hit me. The chorus is heavy and does not hold back with a fat riff, and the mix pushes everything hard, especially the vocals. Then we have the song Can't Help Myself, which brings out the rapcore side. Personally, I'm not really a huge fan of rapcore. It's one of the reasons why I kind of strayed away from Stray from the Path. It just feels so outdated, even today with more modern sounds and different stuff like that. But luckily, the title track comes up next, which also has a lot of rap forward stuff in it, but it just sounds a lot better. The riff sounds like something that Tom Morello would have written, with the lead guitar creating a really strong swelling sound in the background. The verses are all right, but verse 3 features Florent from Landmarks, which is one of the best bands around right now. His vocals are great. His growl sounds really good, but his clean vocals are just so similar to Drew's to the point where the feature feels just a little pointless. Like, it just doesn't really stand out that much. I feel like they could have done so much more. They could have had him growling more or having him speak more French, just something to where it stands out just a little bit more, and I feel like it just would have sounded a lot better. Then we have the song Shocker, which has a very gent feel to the riff, but the chorus to me is where this shines, where there's a lot of crash in the drums and it just sounds so sick. It has like a throwback to like early to mid 2000s metalcore, specifically in the drums, like August Burns Red playing Composure, where Matt Griner just killing the China. Bodies in the Dark is easily the best song on this album. It has a very suspenseful intro leading into a chunky, bassy verse. Everything comes together in the chorus, but then it dies back down as it goes into verse 2, which features Jeff from Poison the Well, and his clean vocals sound so eerie. And this is, to me, a way better use of a feature. You don't really know what is going to come next in this song, and I think that's one of the reasons why I enjoy it so much, is because if you're listening to Stray from the Path, there's a good chance that you know what they're going to sound like. They're a little predictable. They do what they do. You know, you're not going to get any surprises while you're listening to this band. And to me, this song had the most, what you could come close to being as a surprise, I guess you could say. And I really enjoyed it. This is a song that I found myself going back to over and over again. And then we have the song, Can I Have Your Autograph?, which is about Disturbed's vocalist signing bombs and missiles for the Israeli Defense Forces, which is just, yeah, the song calls him a maniac. Like, there's a picture of him like squatting down, like putting his signature on this stuff. And I'm not going to get into the politics of this or any of that, but that is just, that's just wild. That is insane. You're Not That Guy has a really old school feel to it, specifically in the chorus where it has some hardcore punk qualities to it, and then the rap core in the verses, to me, actually don't sound that bad in this song. The vocal performances stand out a lot along with the drums, and it becomes more and more intense as the song goes on, especially once you get to the bridge. Then we have A Life in 4 Chapters, which is the closing track for this album. It finishes things off on a high note, at least. The chorus is full of dissonance, and the verses tie everything that we've heard so far on this album together, all the thoughts, and it's a really good last hurrah. I gotta say, the outro shows that this band does not let up until the very end, which, again, it's very sad that this is coming to a close, and you definitely feel it on the sound, especially when you get to this closing track. Like I said, this is pretty bittersweet because this is the last album, and I like this album maybe more than their last couple albums, and that might be wise because it has a little bit more of a sentimental value in terms of that. And regardless of their political stances, whether you agree with them or not, or if I do or not, I gotta say that they really avoided being cringy and cheesy and just sounding like a toddler having a temper tantrum and stomping their feet, demanding that things need to be changed. The only issue I really had with this album is it's very predictable. The dissonance in just about every single song makes them kind of feel the same. And not only that, but the rap core stuff, it isn't my favorite. At times, I didn't mind it, but for most of the songs that had it, it just isn't really for me. It might be more of a me thing, but because of that, I got to give Clockworked by Stray from the Path a 6.6 out of 10. But I want to know what you guys think. Leave a comment below letting me know what you thought of Clockwork, what you would rate it, and what your favorite song is. Also, while you're down there, let me know what your favorite album from Stray from the Path is. Since it's all coming to an end, I feel like we could all reminisce and talk about which one is our favorite, you know, at least down in the comments. Share something about it, I suppose. And if you enjoyed this review, don't forget to give it a like. It helps out so much with YouTube's algorithm and just inspiring me to continue doing this. If I see that people actually like it and like my videos, it helps me even mentally, and I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day to listen to me sit here and talk about music. And if you leave a comment, thank you for caring enough to say something or anything at all. I appreciate it more than you guys could ever imagine. And I hope you have a good rest of your day or night, whenever you happen to be watching this. And I will talk to you guys next time.